going on, guys? Black Scout Survival, your late nightcap of doom and gloom. I actually heard someone say earlier saying that, oh, this is doom and gloom, but this is being reported everywhere. Every mainstream media is doom and gloom. Everything is looking like it's doomed. That's why, it's not just something we're making up, but we see just downward spiral and just so many directions, and so many things are just heating up all across the globe. So one big thing is, and this is the one that is shocking that we would even tell anyone, is that the US and NATO weapon stockpile is dangerously low. So since there's been a high tempo of arms transfer to Ukraine, the stockpile of U.S. weapons and those allies of ours are getting dangerously low, quote unquote, from a commander in the U.S. Air Force, a general in Europe. He actually said this today. And worse, he warned, there's no short-term fixes on the horizon. Now, why in the world would we tell the world this, other than are we trying to provoke, kind of like how in Ukraine they provoked that with Russia, trying to provoke some kind of attack? I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. He says, I think it's very important that we kind of take a stock of where we are in weapons state across the 32 nations of NATO, and we're getting way down compared to where we were. He said he counted that Sweden's expected accession into NATO among the other collection of allied nations, a topic of heated discussion of NATO summit in Lithuania. Remember, we talked about that. Biden, basically saying that he was going to pick up the IRR, the individual ready reserve, and the select reserve, 3,000 troops that will be deploying to that region at the same NATO summit. So is anyone asking the question, how, like how are we so stinking low on weapons and munitions, right? From Ukraine, and this is coming from Ukraine, and they haven't annihilated Russia or anybody else. Something just doesn't add up here to me. He goes on to say, if you look at the U.S. itself, and let's not just talk about the munitions we recently have given away to Ukraine, but we're at roughly half of the number of fighter squadrons that we had in Desert Storm. Crikey, mate. Desert Storm. I've been watching the stock, okay, the financial stock of the big dog weapons manufacturers, and it's still ticking away. So for us just to be sending all these munitions, all this money, and we're put ourselves in a compromised position in a weakened state. Like, seriously, what's going on here? And why the hell would you publish this to the world? For real, it's like they're wanting us to get attacked. Oh, America's weak, right? So let's continue. He goes on to say, so we don't nearly have half of what we had at the heart of the Cold War. Mind you, the Cold War was not a real war. Now, you add that, we're giving a lot of munitions away to Ukrainians, which I think exactly we need to do, but now we're getting dangerously low sometimes, in some cases even too low, that we don't have enough. And we need to get industry on board to help us so we can get this going. Obviously, he's probably got stock in Halliburton and Lockheed Martin as well as other ones, so he's wanting these. That's a big thing of it. The 20-year global war on terrorism ended, so we have to get our billions of dollars from our weapons stock, right? I mean that makes sense to me. That's whenever people ask me, like a lot of times, how do I figure out a lot of these things? It's because just using basic logic. Everyone has a motivation to do something, right? And a logical reason. People just typically don't do things just unless they're absolutely nuts. But typically everyone has a motivation to do something, and you trying to determine what is the most likely reason for that motivation. And typically a lot of times it's money. So if you didn't know, the US has given Ukraine $41 billion in security assistance since February 2022. I promise you that if you gave me $41 billion, I alone will go conquer nations. With $41 billion, I can do a lot. Just tell me how many countries you want, and I'll go take them over. Give me the 41 billion, and I alone will go take over these countries. I mean, seriously. Ukraine is burning through ammunition faster than the US and NATO can produce it, right? What are they doing with it? Maybe because they lost. This is pretty crazy. Maybe because they lost around 20% of the 20% of the weapons in the first weeks of the counteroffensive, right? So the first few weeks of the counteroffensive. Now, you guys remember Trader Milley, right? This guy right here. Yeah, so now he is trying to send weapons to Taiwan. We don't have any. We don't have any. They burned through 20% of their weapons and armor, right? Ukraine did. So, I mean, look, we got just civilians out there carrying, I can't remember, how much these bad boys cost now, but I think they're about $7,000 a piece. Give me one. I want one for the house, right? So China Milley, he has called for accelerated delivery of weapons to Taiwan in order to bolster the island's defenses. And he said this during a press conference in Tokyo. He emphasized that the speed in which we, the United States or other countries, assist Taiwan is in improving their defensive capabilities. I think we probably need to be accelerated for years to come. Of course, he's probably got money in Halliburton too, right? I mean, this is no surprise, to be honest with you. All of these guys, they want war. These are warmongers. And you've heard other politicians call this out as of late. Like these folks, the Lindsey Grahams, General Milley's, Biden's, a lot of Democrats are warmongers. They're wanting a war. They're wanting World War III. They're wanting it. They want. They're salivating because they want it so bad. So anyway, let me continue with what China Milley said. He went on to specify the types of weaponry Taiwan would require to adequately defend itself, including air defense systems, very expensive, land-to-ship weapons, very expensive, Stinger anti-aircraft missiles, very expensive, and Taiwan's defense budget for a year aims to prepare the island for a potential total blockade by China, focusing on components for F-16 fighters and replenishing weapon size F-16 fighters, very expensive. So, but we're not supposed. We supposed to are low, and yet we're wanting to send these things to Taiwan, and we have Lindsey Graham over there threatening Russia. I mean, this is bizarre. Tell me, I mean, maybe I've went down the rabbit hole too deep. Maybe I have. Maybe I'm completely bonkers, and I've went down the rabbit hole too deep. I'm deep in the wormhole, and I've went nuts. But does all of this not sound absolutely insane to you? This is crazy. So, are we going to get like plowed through if we have to get involved in something as we get attacked or pulled into something? Or are we going to get plowed through because we don't have weapons? Many of these weapon systems, guys, this isn't like a bread factory, okay, where they can go pump out, thousands of cases of bread in a day. A lot of these weapons take months to build, and we're not even talking about sourcing the raw materials, much less the even workforce that we have today, that are in these jobs. They're lazy. So we can't produce them as fast as Ukraine's using, and they're not even doing anything. I mean, they're not even making any headway. So what do you think if we really gotten a serious conflict? Milley sat on, and I showed a video of this, and I hope you guys saw it. You need to watch every video because there's something in about every one of them. But I showed a video a while back, maybe I'd say 2 months ago. Milley basically, maybe it was 4 months ago. Milley sat in front of Congress and said, there's no way possible we could fight two superpowers at the same time. He literally said that. He said, there's no possible way we would lose fighting two superpowers at the same time. The deal was, though, is America was supposed to be set up to basically fight the entire world. Like after World War II, like our strategy was that we could basically sustain the fighting the entire world. Okay. But Milley, they've weakened our military so badly. And we're not even talking about the woke indoctrination they're doing to our troops, just in general. We have where we can't even fight two superpowers, let alone, he said, maybe not even one big one. So, and he said this in front of Congress. Now they're trying to restructure. The Marine Corps is trying to restructure. I do know that they're making massive moves. I don't even know if it's for the good or not. If you're in the Marines currently, please tell us. But I don't even know if it's for the good. But they're in bad shape, period. I mean, we have 60% of the what military can't even pass the PT test. And we're talking about the guys on the ground can't pass the PT test. They can't even actually get people in. They're having to give waivers for weight, right? So then, now, amongst all of this, then we have the possibility of World War III, because Russia's top man, Putin's right-hand man, is saying that World War III is edging closer. Where is it at? Why is this even up here? This is not what I wanted to show. Here it is. Edge of war. Like, look at this guy right here. He's loving how much money he's getting. And why is he always wearing 511? I actually saw him before we go forward. I saw Zelensky at this party. People are in suits and champagne, and he's out there in 511. Like, dude, quit with the charade. When we're in war, do you see our president walk around in 511? I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's all for show. It is theatrics. He's an actor, by the way. But anyway, so Putin's right-hand man says World War III is edging closer and slams completely mad west as NATO backs huge Ukraine security deal. So Dmitry Medvedev, I think that's how you say his name. We've talked about him a ton. Okay. He's the former president of Russia and deputy secretary to Russia's Security Council. He has warned that increased military assistance to Ukraine with NATO members is bringing the world closer to World War III. Right? And not to mention, we just sent over cluster bombs. It's pretty much illegal in every country except for, I think, US, Ukraine, and Russia. Right? But he says, speaking after the first day of the NATO summit, Medvedev dismissed the nation that military aid for the Western Alliance would deter Russia from achieving the goals in Ukraine. He expressed his belief that supplying Ukraine with lethal aid was a dead end, adding World War III is getting closer. So he's saying, essentially that it's not going to deter Russia, and I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I don't think anyone's scared of America. We just said we're almost out of. Could you imagine being in a gunfight, and the guy yells over to you, "Hey man, I've only got 3 more rounds in my mag. Don't worry about it." Who does that? I would actually say the opposite. Unless maybe I'm not really out of ammo and I want him to become brazen and come attack me. Logic, just logic, right? Why would I tell people this? Everything's a psyop with these people, right? Could we be trying to push us into some type of conflict? Oh, we're weak. Go ahead and attack. I mean, we are weak, but trying to provoke it and provoke China. I think China is the one we're really trying to provoke. But again, don't forget, we just activated the Selective Reserve and IR, sending them over there. Okay. Maybe they'll give them muskets and spears. I don't know. But because we're giving Ukraine everything else, right? But unless we have strong leadership, a strong leadership change very soon, I don't foresee the escalation stopping. I just don't. Or the escalation is an attempt by the DNC puppet masters, the Democratic puppet masters that are in control, because Biden's not. That he can't barely put frame a sentence, walk up a set of stairs. You really think he's in control? Ain't no way. Kamala, has anybody even seen her? What has she even been doing? So I don't foresee a de-escalation in any near future. Push through. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mike. You're always the first guy that pops up on the feed, man. I always see your name first. But yeah, you know, the saying is that weak men make tough times. You know, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're at the tough times. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts on this. Please share it in the comments below. Help me fight the algorithm as well by liking. Share this to Facebook. Do me a favor. I would like to do a test to share this video to Facebook. Like all of you guys that have a face, and if you don't have a face, you don't have to tell me you don't have one. I understand. But if you do have one, just go share the video, right? Let's try this, because I noticed, I looked through my, oh, by the way, my video last night, they clipped out the Tucker Pence section of my video. You can't make this stuff up. And then it ruined my audio, right? They said it went against the guidelines and clipped it out because we found out Pence is a warmonger too. He didn't care about America. He's part of them, dude. He wears the Republican name tag, but he's one of them. So what I noticed though, when I looked through the analytics, only 2% of my followers are getting notified. 2%. I've got 600,000 followers. 2% are getting notified. The rest of them are having to search out the video. It shows like the vast majority of you guys are having to search out the video. And then the other ones are coming from Facebook, because like more are coming from Facebook than even the searching, right? And triple that of being notified. So do me a favor, share this video on Facebook, please, and like, comment. Let me know your thoughts on this stuff. Is this doom and gloom? Have I went down the rabbit hole too far? Do I need to come back up and get a breath of fresh air? Let me know. Remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous.